Yes, very good afternoon to all of you. In the previous class, we have taken the SSL. SSL is made up of with four different kinds of protocol stacks. So the protocol stack will be handshake protocol, and so I'll come to take the pen here right now. Yeah. So SSL has having four protocols with a stack. The protocols might be handshaking protocol, and then what do you call chain cipher specification protocol, and then alert protocol followed by SSL record protocol. Already we have come across this SSL record protocol in the previous class itself. So these are the points which we have taken into consideration in terms of SSL record protocol. And the SSL record protocol will be taken the entire application data, and this application data will be divided into several number of fragments, and this fragment will be second operation will be fragment will be compressed by using any MAC authenticated algorithm, either it is SHA or it is MD5, and then compression will be gets appended with MAC, and then followed by encryption operation will be done here. Afterwards, SSL record header will be gets appended to that particular entire data, and SSL record fields might be, these are all the SSL record fields. These will be appended to that particular fragmented data after doing all those operations. We have taken all these things in the previous class itself, and today, we are also discussed the formula how MAC will be gets generated by SSL record protocol. Everything has been seen here. Okay. That today we'd like to consider the handshake protocol. Already in our network programming, okay, Unix and network programming class, we have taken already this handshaking. Same kind of handshaking will be also implemented here. Let us examine. So this handshake protocol will be implemented in four phases. So what are the phases and what are the points which we'd like to consider? Let us do. The major and first responsibility of handshake protocol is it is always trying to create sessions between the server and the client. Otherwise, two autonomous individual computers. Two autonomous individual computer machines. Okay, it could be always create the sessions and establish connections between one computer to another. Most probably server to client. Then how this would be? How the frame format will be? The frame format will be seen like this. So it does have three components. Number one, the type. What is the type of that particular protocol, higher level protocols which are available after this SSL. Then what is the length of the message? The message length must be 3 bytes. And what is the content? So actually, what kind of content you are supposed to transfer using your SSL? So these are the three different types of components which are available with the SSL handshake protocol. Now, we'd like to consider what kind of messages will be processed instead of calling as messages. Here I'd like to call it as far as network point of view, these messages will also be called as segments. Okay, what kind of segments will be processed using this handshaking protocol? That we would like to look into that particular matter here. And there are many messages which are many segments which are being communicated between the server and the client here. Let us have a look here. First and foremost one is client hello message, and then second one is server hello message, and third one is certificate of the client and server. So from server side, the certificate, SSL certificate. At the same time, at the client side, the SSL certificate, and then followed by server key exchange. Whatever the key which is being maintained by the server, the private key will be exchanged to the server client, to the opponent, that is client, and then followed by certificate requisition certificate requisition will be made from client to server or server to client, and then followed by server done. Server done in the sense yes, the server operations gets finished to handshake, and then followed by client key exchange. After server has been given the specific key, then client will be send its key to the server client is the key exchange, and then followed by finally certificate verification at client side. These are the messages which are been. These are the actually segments, not actually messages. These are the actual segments which are being forwarded by the client and the server. Okay. After the certificate verification, so handshaking is gets finished. After this particular point, handshaking will be gets finished. Therefore, your session will be established. Then the communication will be get started. Once handshaking protocol will be completed, your connection will be established. Therefore, your session will also be get started. If any problem while taking this handshaking protocol, you never enter into the connection. I mean, you never establish the connection, and you never enter into the particular session to communicate. Okay, handshake protocol is very important while implementing this particular SSL here. Let us have a look here how the segments or the messages will be gets passed. So look at this. So how a client, this is the timeline of the client and this is the timeline of server. For example, it could be taken into in such a way. First of all, so client will be send a message. Actually, synchronized signal will be sent to. It is actually synchronized segment actually. Of course, for better understanding point of view, so in the cryptography and network security, so many books have been given these messages or these segments here. Client has to be forward this client hello message to the server. Then after receiving this client hello message, immediately server also be send the same kind of message with hello. Server hello message. I mean acknowledgement will be sent back. So in terms of computer networks, it will be called as acknowledgement. Okay, acknowledgement will be sent by the server. So this would be the phase one. So in this particular client hello and server hello, so in these two segments when we passes to between client and server, what could be happen? So what is the protocol this particular environment will be used, and what is the session ID which is being created by the SSL, and what is the Cipher suite which is being implemented by this particular SSL, and what is the compression method? Compression method in the sense whether you are using SHA or you are using MD5, which kind of compression method you are using, and all other parameters will be initiated by sending these two segments between client and server. Then this is up to this particular point, it is phase number one. After this phase, continuously server will be communicate with the client, and the client will not be response until server will be send server hello. Okay, before going to send server hello, again server hello, what are the different segments or messages which are being sent by the server? Let us have a look here. First one, what is the certificate? I mean certificate in the sense X509 certificate. Which certificate which is being maintained by the server will be forwarded to the client. And second one is whatever the key, private key which is being maintained by the server has been forwarded to client, and whatever the client certificate after sending these two, it must be requested to client certificate. So if client certificate will be requisition will be made, until this one also, look at this, until this one also client will not be communicate anything to the server. When client will be initiates its communication here in the sense, so this server hello done will be received by the client. After receiving this particular server hello done, then client will be get starts to communicate with the server. Until this particular message, so client will be always listen to the server, but not initiate any kind of communication. Okay. Once this server hello done will be received by the client, obviously, so client will be get starts its communication. Up to this, it is called as phase number two. This phase number 2 will also be called as server authentication. What do you mean by server authentication in the sense? What is the certificate which has been used by the server and what is the private key which is being used by the server? These two will be sent to the client. Okay. Then followed by it may request to the client that what is your certificate? Let me have your certificate and all the other stuff which is related to this authentication. So this could be done, and this particular up to this particular point, this is phase 2. In phase 2, client could not be communicate with the server until server hello message will be received. Yes, once server hello has been received, then what actually happens? So client will be get starts and she is going to communicate with server by transferring her certificate. What is the certificate she is using? SSL certificate she is using. She just forward the information from client to server, and then followed by what is the private key which is used by the client. It has been forwarded to the server, and then certificate must be verified. Certificate must be verified here. After verification of the certificate, then so this verification process will be complete the client authentication phase. Okay, this client authentication phase will be gets completed here. After this one, so fourth phase. What exactly the fourth phase will be? Change Cipher specification. Change Cipher specification here in the sense, what does it means? What kind of compression method you are using? That particular compression method will be forwarded from the client to server, and communication from server will be client will be finished. And similarly, whatever the change Cipher specification will be done by the server at server side. What is the what do you call compression method protocol, not protocol, algorithm which is used by the server? It is also shared to client, and then server also done. Okay, so as and when this finish, client side finish and server side finish, these two will be gets over, then handshaking will be successful. Handshaking will be successful. If any one of these segments will not be properly received by either client or server, immediately the session and connection will be disconnected. That is terminated. They could not be able to communicate with each other. So any one of these segment will be missed to receive or send. Obviously, your connection or session could not be made. There, those two will be terminated. So all these messages will be. I am not interested to specify messages. These are all called as segments. Okay. All these segments will be continuously communicate between the server and the client. Therefore, handshaking will be gets finished at this stage. Then after finishing of this handshaking, then it will be implemented. What is this change Cipher specification? What are the parameters which have been operated with the change Cipher specification will be get started. Okay. So this is what about the handshaking protocol, which is being happening between the client and server. Okay. Then followed by, so after finishing, so it has been identified the MAC value or hash value or MAC value. After getting this one, then change Cipher protocol, change Cipher specification protocol will be gets activated, and it could be always just only one byte. Whether you are using proper, proper algorithm or not. If it is 0, you are not using either SHA or MD5. You are using other kind of other than these two. If it is 1, yes, either of these two has been used. That is the specification where exactly it could be made here. Okay. Then after change Cipher specification protocol will be gets over, whatever the pending state in the sense, so after handshaking, so it must be applied. This is the specific protocol I am using, algorithm as not protocol, algorithm I'm using will be notified to the server and to the client. Then your process will be, or your session will be come into running state. Your session will be come into running state, and both will be communicated each other. During this communication, so what would be happen? Next protocol will be alert protocol. during this particular running state, so are there any miscommunication will be gets happen, then alert protocol will be gives you such kind of data. What is the alert protocol here? So alert protocol does have two fields. I mean, this frame might be having two fields. One is level and second one is alert. Level might be either warning or fatal alert. If warning will be get circled, there is no problem. Your session will be continued. If any fatal error will be gets occurred, immediately your session and connection will be terminated. Okay, session and connection will be gets terminated if any fatal error will be so received by either client or the server. Okay, warning, there is no that much importance of that particular warning. You may be check your the bandwidth of your internet and have to check it out whether it is working properly or not. If a fatal error will be there, then obviously your connection will be terminated. And what are the different kinds of fatal error messages which are available with you? So these are the messages. Fatal errors will be unexpected message or unexpected segment. I'm very much interested to spell it out as a segment, not message. Unexpected message. And then bad record of MAC. MAC has been created in a bad way. And then decompression has been failed while operating that particular decompression operation. So the decompression operation has been gets failed, or handshaking has been failed. Any one of the segments have not been received properly, then handshaking will be gets failed. Then so these are the fatal errors. Any one of these fatal errors will be received by either side. Your connection and the session will be gets terminated. Immediately it will be gets terminated. And some other messages also there. Illegal parameters. So some other messages also be there. Reminders of the alerts will be so close notify when the completion of your session will be gets over. Then it will be notified that your session is gets over. Okay, something like that. And then no certificate. You have forwarded a certificate to client or client to server or server to client. If certificate is not received properly, so this is the alert message which is being received. And a bad certificate, you are not using proper certificate to communicate with the SSL, something like this. Otherwise, unsupported certificate in the sense, so there are many so third-party companies are there who prepares this SSL certificate. So probably you are using the perfect certificate, there is no problem. If you are not using a proper certificate, obviously you could get this particular alert message. And then the certificate is revoked. The certificate has been sent by client to server or server to client, but that has not been accepted, so that could be revoked by the server or client, either side. The certificate is expired. The time of that particular certificate has been gets expired, so that your connection will be lost. Our certificate is unknown. Okay, proper certificate, legitimate user certificate has not been used, then it could be get. So therefore, these are all the different kinds of alert messages where exactly the points will be taken into consideration. So alert protocol have two different types of so fields are there, or parameters are there, level parameter and alert parameter. In level parameter, either that might be warning or that might be fatal error. If a fatal error will be received, obviously your connection and the session will be gets terminated immediately. If a fatal error cannot be there, of course you will be continue, but you have to check it out whether data will be transmitted properly or not. Okay, so this is what about the complete information regarding to what do you call SSL. Okay, SSL will be seems like this. This is for today's class, and we will continue by next hour to finish off TLS, actual email service TLS. By tomorrow, we will look into that particular next class. We will look into that matter. Okay. Thank you. And one more thing, I'd like to